tops in the organization over there. Because when you look at making an investment like this,
$28 million a year,
$28 million a year, you got to win games like they were in last night.
4-13 in prime time.
You cannot. This is why Washington refused to commit long-term with Kirk Cousins, because they knew this was a kind of a kink in his armor. He hasn't been able to prove that he can win in the primetime games
and make the play. Russell was awful last night, but he made the play. You know, it's interesting about that, because somebody told me this years ago. In baseball, they say it in cars, the only person that really knows the odometer of the car is the initial owner. That's why you don't buy a used car. You don't know if anybody's toyed with the odometer. Right. You know, and it's the same thing when you have a house and you're the first person to move into a house. You know the house. Mm-hmm. You know the issues. The bathtub doesn't work right. Got a leak over here. And I would say this, is that Washington scouted Kirk Cousins. They had him as a backup. They saw him in the locker room. In the end, when a team lets go of their starting quarterback, that's a pretty good indication of what he is. Now, Dak. This leads us to Dak. Dallas knows all the good and the bad of Dak. Here's the funny thing, and I've been super critical of Dak, but Greg, stability, mobility, leadership, and he wins a lot of close games. He does, Greg. Mm-hmm. He is in, and these all Cowboy games are standalone big TV games. Mm-hmm. They win a lot of these, and he looks bad in a lot of these, but I got to tell you, what would you pay him?
I wouldn't pay him Kirk Cousins money. No, absolutely not. When you listen to Jerry Jones, he says, Amari Cooper, he's coming for his money. He knows Ezekiel Elliott, I'm going to have to back the Brinks truck up to him. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, those guys make Dak Prescott better. Dak Prescott doesn't make them better. Don't get me wrong. He's an important piece to why they are winning.
And he does some things well,
He does some things well, but at the quarterback position, this is why I can respect Jerry Jones in this sense, because he's not just paying the position like most teams do. It's quarterback, we're kind of in a bind, we're in a corner, let's just pay Kirk Cousins. Nope, we see that our quarterback, can he be good? Absolutely. Is he better if we add pieces around him?
Yes.
Yes. And so until you get to the point where you make everybody around you better, then you deserve that money. Then we pay the player, which is the quarterback at that position.
You know, it's funny. I didn't like Dak out of college. Then I really liked him. And now I've gone back to he drives me nuts. But I will say this. I've heard people, I had a scout say, Dak will only work in this league if he has a great running back. In fairness, at this point, Tom Brady needs a running game. At this point, Drew Brees needs a running game. Jared Goff needs a running game. Let's slow down a little on Dak's the only quarterback who needs a great running game. Carson Wentz, who is a wizard, doesn't have the running game this year. He's not the same guy. Dak's ceiling is low. We would both agree with that.
I agree.
But most every quarterback, even Aaron Rodgers right now, what's his record? It don't have much of a consistent running game.
And Dak's ceiling is low, but what Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboy organization sees is they see the future with Dak growing and him on the incline versus on the decline. At the beginning of a quarterback's career, a running back is most important, and I believe at the end of a quarterback's career, a running back is most important.
Very good point, Greg Jennings. All right, so, it's funny. The Raiders beat the Steelers, and it got glossed over because the Bears, Rams, and the Cowboys won. Mm-hmm. The Steelers lost to Oakland for everybody watching, and nobody talked about it because there were so many big games over the weekend. The Steelers lost to the Raiders, okay, the dysfunctional Raiders. And in the game, Big Ben was healthy, and they kept Josh Dobbs in. Once again, the Steelers are sort of unraveling. Is it fair to compare Tomlin and Ben? They got a little McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers thing?
Yes. Now, I haven't been in that locker room, so I don't know the ins and outs of that dynamic. But yes, but when you look at who will be on the out, you look at the Green Bay Packers and look who they chose.
The quarterback.
The quarterback. They chose the quarterback. I'm sticking with the Hall of Famer, the guy who's going to sell these tickets. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, as much winning as he's done, so did Mike McCarthy. As much success as they've had together, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. But if I have to decide on who I'm going to continue to move forward with, I am not parting ways with a Hall of Fame quarterback because that looks bad on us as an organization.
I've said this for years. People compare Rodgers to Brady. He compares favorably with Ben. Transformational talent, a lot of drama, can be a little passive-aggressive through the media. I mean, Aaron and Ben, literally, they are the two guys. Well,
True.
Without saying it, they're constantly saying it.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot in common. That's why I think the suggestion that Tomlin, he's run his course, is fair. I'm not saying you have to fire him, but if you're going to fire McCarthy mid-season after a bad 8-9 game stretch, you can at least consider Tomlin. You can bring it up. It's a fair column.
It's definitely a fair column. And you've always said this, Tomlin gets a pass.
He's funny. He's incredibly he's Mike Ditka.
And I think he gets the pass because of the culture of that organization, but because they don't turn over coaches.
Either do the Packers, really.
The Packers don't either, but when you really look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't revolve that door when it comes to the head coach. They just don't do it. And so they'll put up with more, and they'll take the wins. We haven't won the big game in a long time. So now when you look at the windows closing, the opportunity is shrinking. Something has to give.
All right, stick around. I'm going to a funny situation with a Dolphin, with the New England Patriots, and I want your take on this because this something that New England did this weekend is they're so good at something, and it's so funny, and the Steelers are so bad at something, and I'll have that with Greg Jennings coming back. Also, Trent Dilfer, Peter King, Derwin James, the remarkable hard-hitting safety for the Chargers, who is a beast, will be joining us in the final hour. Sleep can be a struggle, especially in the winter. It gets dark early, hard to get. You want to get to bed. It's hard to get out of bed. Casper makes it really hard to get out of bed.